Welcome to Coppersword. My name's Stickerburst, and this ruined portal out here in the bay is what I've been using to come and go from Coppersword when I need to go get materials from somewhere else. But in this episode, we're going to be building a brand new portal right here in the center of town. Each building in Coppersword is themed after a different natural resource. For example, we've got the coal building here that houses my super smelter. We've got the stone building that holds the cobble generator. And finally, the diorite, andesite, and granite buildings are for my storage system. So this episode, we're building the portal, and it's going to be the gold-themed structure. It's going to go right here, and I've got a kind of ambitious block palette here. So it's going to go from gold all the way to netherrack, and then to grass. And I'm using these transition between these warped planks to grass because over here this is a stony shores biome, so the grass is a little less saturated, so these warped planks fit better than they would over here, for example, in this plains biome, where the grass is a lot more vibrant green. It just doesn't fit as well. So the fact that the nether portal itself is going to be in this stony shores biome is what's going to allow this gradient to work. So let's go ahead and build it up. Alright, this was the plan for how I wanted the nether portal to be. It's got this like three-pronged crown shape on the top of it that I've been using for other portals elsewhere in the world. But now that it's actually built, it looks really small compared to these other buildings. It doesn't match the scale. So I think what I'm going to do is raise the whole thing up by one block and also widen it by one block and make it a bit taller by a block or two, and hopefully that will fit better. Yeah, this is a lot better. This definitely fits the scale better. The three prongs are farther apart now, but I think that still looks nice. So now the next step is to start blending this into the terrain here. So I think I want to go for these kind of like tendrils sticking out, and I'll make a couple of them going in various different directions and tweak them over time, and then start adding the gradient in. Alright, here's the completed gradient. I also continued the road up there as well, and I'm using tuff to help transition between the road and the warped planks there. I added these purple banners at the top. That'll make more sense when we actually light the portal. It's a nice way to cover over that obsidian without being too bulky, and it'll transition between the deep purple of the portal and the bright yellow of the gold. So I've finished these kind of tentacles here, and the next step is to transition it down this rock face, because these this gradient is designed to transition into grass, but this is supposed to be a rock cliff face. So what I've done is I have these netherrack tentacles coming down, and I'm going to use purple terracotta and granite to transition, and I'm going to dig out and replace like this, rather than placing them on top, and hopefully that will give the netherrack tendrils this kind of like bumped out effect. And I think that will look pretty cool. It looks like a beached squid. I mean, we're talking about the nether here. It's supposed to look a little bit weird and gross. So that's the back. Now the front, I love this gradient, but it's pretty flat and boring, and I'm imagining this portal to be kind of like the entrance to the city, and so I imagine that people might like stop and hang out here, chat, and visit. So I want this to be kind of like a park, so I'm imagining maybe some kind of benches and foliage, and just overall make it be a nicer place to be. It's coming together, guys. We got a couple benches in here, a couple light posts, some foliage, yellow flowers to tie in the portal. This is the perfect spot to just sit, enjoy the view, listen to the sound of the water, feel the ocean breeze, maybe welcome in some weary travelers from the nether. I love it. But now that this is done, it's about time. We need to go deeper. Let's see where we end up, if it'll put us in the same place as that portal over there, or if we'll end up somewhere else. Yep, here it is. Okay, this is the other side of the ruined portal that I made quite a while ago. I'll show you a little bit of my nether. I don't think I've shown you guys this before. So this is the spawn portal. Like I told you, I've got this three-pronged effect going on. Oop. The portal is going to end up somewhere over there, I think. So I'm going to tunnel out, probably starting from here, out to wherever those coordinates lead, so we can form the new portal. I can do this all day. Are you sure you want to pick this fight, sir? Yeah, that's what I thought. This is where our portal needs to go. Yep, here it is. Okay. So let's see. And here we are. And let's see if we end up back in the ruin portal if it were to take us to the new one that we just made. I think it'll take us down to the lower one. Yep, here it is. Okay, so I'm just going to break this one. And then let's come back up here. And here is our tunnel. You can start by widening it a little bit. And I think I want this portal to have the similar style to this one over here, but be gold themed, just like the one in the in Coppersword. So I'm going to go grab the blocks I used for the Coppersword portal and use them to build this one. And then we can work out a tunnel design. Here it is, the portal in all its glory. So now I've got to start figuring out what I want to do for the tunnel design. And I've got a couple things that are going to be informing my decision, and I want to show you some of them. So if we head back to Coppersword, and then fly south back towards spawn. You see, here's Coppersword, and there's a path that I have yet to finish. But I have created this bridge here. And it's using this kind of oxidized copper, prismarine, and prismarine brick gradient. Here's where I think it got struck by lightning right here, so it unwaxed the copper. So that's fun. But yeah, I think I want to use this kind of textured gradient in the tunnel design. And if we head back down this path, this is heading towards spawn. It's not far now, just through these trees. And here is world spawn itself. I've got some food and some rockets and some backup gear, just in case. But then this is the portal at spawn. And this leads over to what I showed you already on the nether side. And here we've got another bridge leading south towards the trading village. And this is using a similar kind of gradient, but this time with granite, polished granite, and weathered copper. And I built this to kind of mirror the other bridge in the overworld. But I want to somehow transition from this basalt and stone brick into that copper and prismarine and use that for the floor. And I'm not sure yet what I want to do for the walls and ceiling. But I guess we'll figure that out after I put the floor in. Here's the floor all put in. I did slabs with soul soil underneath so that you can get the soul speed effect, but won't be slowed down if you don't have soul speed boots. And I decided for this kind of black stone mix for the walls. I think that'll look nice. And I've been experimenting with the shape of this room on the end here. I wanted it to kind of widen out so you could see the whole portal, and I could replace these netherrack here with some more gold themed blocks. And I'm still not sure what to do with the ceiling. I'm thinking maybe dark prismarine or maybe sandstone. But for now, I've just got to go ahead and fill out these walls here. And there's also going to be sea lanterns in the floor here as well. I think that'll look good. So I'll go ahead and work on that and bring you back when I'm done. The blackstone walls are in. And now that they are in, I'm noticing how dark and closed off this tunnel feels, so I don't want to darken it any further by using dark prismarine, so I'm going to go with the sandstone option. So I've got to put that in. And another thing that I've been thinking about as I've been building is the idea of transitions. Because we've just got this dead ending onto the nether so far, and then we've just got like blank open nether for like 10 blocks until we get to this. Basalt and stone brick, and I really like this architecture here and the way it looks, but it's just like plonked in the middle of the nether with no context, and then it dead ends onto this bridge, which once again, it looks nice, I like the way it looks, but it just doesn't match. And this is kind of like a recurring theme in the way I build things. I come up with a cool idea and then I build it, and it doesn't really fit with what's going on around it. So that's why I've been consciously trying to avoid that in my other constructions in Coppersword, and how I've been talking about these architectural patterns that I want to reuse throughout the builds in an effort to try to bring it together. But this is a prime example of what happens when I don't do that and just let things happen. And the cobblestone really doesn't help. This is still left over from my very first entrance into the nether. This is the path that I used to take to the trading village, and there was a staircase that went down here, straight down to there. And I ripped that out when I finished the bridge, but I haven't ripped this out because this is still a tunnel I use regularly that heads up to the nether tunnel that goes to my sand duper. So I haven't torn this out yet. But I was just thinking maybe I could replace it with this path here, make it look nicer, and have it come up through here, and it'll intersect with that nether tunnel up there somewhere. So that's what I'm thinking. So I really want to figure out a way to make this all flow together smoothly somehow. and feel like a cohesive space. But I can think about that while I'm putting in the sandstone ceiling. The sandstone ceiling is in, and it's looking good. And I've been thinking about our problem here of transitions. And one thing I've noticed is that these two build styles share 0 blocks in common. So maybe one way we can start tying them together is start to use this Blackstone medley in place of the stone brick. Because the only reason I used stone brick here was because that's what I had already used on the overworld side. And another thing I've been thinking is that we could maybe take this wall and bring it all the way around and enclose this whole area and have this spawn portal be kind of like a little mini nether base. Maybe have some chests out for backup food and rockets and to restock if we ever need to while we're passing through. And then we can put doors here. And so that will give us the opportunity to use the threshold of this door as kind of a clear transition from this style to this style. And so, yeah, I think I want to explore this concept of using a threshold as a tool to transition definitively and smoothly between two distinct styles. Alright, here's the portal all done up in Blackstone. As you can see, I've also replaced the wall, and I've started continuing it around, and I've marked out this big rectangle for the shape and size of the room. And I've got these entrances on different sides, so this one can lead out into the nether proper, and eventually into this tunnel. We've got another one on this side leading up to the sand duper tunnel, and another one on this side transitioning into the bridge. And I pulled out the basalt here, and I'm going to replace it with more of this granite palette. So that is the state of the project at the moment, but I am completely out of Blackstone, so it's time to go get some more. So we finished the Blackstone walls. We've got these 3 exits here. This one leads out to the bridge, and we've vastly improved this transition here by having a clear threshold that goes from the polished basalt to the bridge itself. And then this next one leads out onto a pathway that goes over to this tunnel and stairwell that eventually leads up to the tunnel that goes out to the sand duper at the end portal way out there. We've got this chest full of boats for the ice road. And finally, the last one goes out into this unfinished path that will eventually lead out into parts unknown. And then we've got to figure out a way to put a doorway on this tunnel here. I'm also thinking I want to do a kind of slanted copper roof right here, matching the buildings that we've been doing. I think that will look nice. And I also want to find some way to cover up these sea lanterns on the outside that creates a kind of foundation for this tunnel so it doesn't look like it's just floating. Here it is. So we've got the copper roof in, and we've got this mirrored foundation pattern that covers over those sea lanterns, and we've repeated this motif of the polished deep slate threshold. Looking good. So this is everything I wanted to do in the nether. Actually, more than I was expecting to. I was planning to just do that gold portal, and I was thinking this was going to be a pretty short episode, but we've actually done quite a bit. I'm really happy with our progress. But let's head back to Coppersword, because there's a couple more things that I want to do to finish up there, and then we can close out the episode. So the first thing is, I put in these street lamps, but I think I'm overdoing it with the cyan a little bit, so I think we're going to switch out this prismarine for some deep slate and blackstone to mirror the sword design. I forgot to point out that I changed the creeper face over to a cut copper, and you can see it a lot more clearly now. I love having an automatic sword system. This is amazing. I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. And now I can just say, okay, I need some polished deep slate. Here's some. And I need some blackstone walls. Okay, looks like I don't have any more blackstone walls, so I'll just grab some blackstone and I can make some here. This is brilliant. I love it. How does that look? Yeah, I think that's better. Rixel it up a little bit more, so it's not just all cyan everywhere all the time. Well, there's really only one thing left to do this episode, and it's not to do with this portal, it's to do with this one out here. So I figured since we're not using it anymore, we might as well return it to its former ruined state. So there's a gold block that goes right here, and then I think I set this crying obsidian down when I was repairing the portal, and I looked this up on the wiki page. There's only so many portal variants, so I was able to find out which one mine is. It's the one that has this break in this top left corner. There, that looks like a proper ruined portal. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in another episode. Bye guys!